Hello, and welcome to News Channel 1. Thanks for tuning in. Today we have several interesting news stories about skin color, and the first is how and why do we get our skin color. On to our science expert, Steve.
Our skin color is controlled by our production of melanin. Three main things control our production of melanin. The color of the melanin, whether it's a reddish yellow or a brownish black, the amount of melanocytes we have, which is what actually produces the melanin, and how much melanin those melanocytes produce. Other little things can control our skin color, but those are the main three. Skin color is a trait of incomplete dominance, or basically the different instructions blend together. That's why skin color is so varied throughout the human population. We get these instructions for these different variations from our parents. Each trait has multiple variations, and some people can carry traits without showing them, like their variation in skin color. Another question is, why is the skin color of our population so varied?
Melanin protects us from harmful UV rays, which can alter our DNA, causing skin cancer and break down the nutrient folate. Folate is essential for embryonic development and sperm production for men. When humans were in Africa, we had some variation of skin color, but not like we have today. But because most humans had darker skin, the UV light wasn't a problem, because at the equator there's a lot more UV light than there is when you go to higher latitudes. So because there was less light intensity at higher latitudes, when humans moved out of Africa, they had trouble getting enough UVB, which is a ray of UV light essential for creating vitamin D. So because we didn't get enough UVB, we couldn't produce enough vitamin D, and we didn't collect enough calcium. This led to a disease called rickets, which allowed your bones not to develop correctly, and eventually caused death. But because our light skin was able to kind of evolve into the light skin that we have today, we were able to receive more UVB and create more vitamin D. And this is why skin color is so varied throughout the population. Thank you, Steve. Now on to how the race of Native Americans, specifically the Cherokee tribe, has been affected through history with Bill, our American history expert. So American Indians were the first people in North America, and when the Europeans showed up, there wasn't much controversy, but they started trading, and that was good for the economy and for peace deals. But when the Europeans started getting greedy, it turned really bad really quick. So they started killing Indians to get what they wanted, and because of this, the Indians actually started several wars against the Europeans. And after a while, it got peaceful again, but around 1803, however, America started westward expansion. The kind of a news article name for this was also Manifest Destiny, which was the thought that God gave them the right to expand westward, and that it was their destiny to expand westward. This, of course, pushed the Indians west because the Indians had nowhere else to go. And that brings us to our specific Indian group, the Cherokee. The Cherokee live in the area of Tennessee, Kentucky, and all of these states that are around here. The Cherokee are a fairly peaceful tribe. They don't believe in owning land, they aren't Christian, but other than that, they're a pretty normal group. And they actually, when they were getting pushed westward, they actually took it to court. And the court ruled in their favor, but the president didn't care, so he just overruled them. So because of this, they were forced to go on the Trail of Tears, which is from Tennessee to Oklahoma. And it's called the Trail of Tears because many Indians died, and there's lots of sickness and lots of just bad stuff. Thanks, Bill. Another question we will answer is, how can skin color be affecting us today? But first, a short commercial break.
You may have seen a few people test Flex Seal on a bucket, but you've never seen anything like mine. That's a lot of damage.
And now, after that commercial break, we will talk about how skin color is still affecting us today with Carl.
Our team of researchers looked into the average income of a state versus the population of African Americans to see if there was a possible correlation between the two. Correlation is different from causation, though. Correlation is saying that something may be related, and causation is saying it's definitely this happened because of this. But the main difference is correlation is like it may be related, causation is like it definitely is related. So, looking at this line here, you can see that it's going down and it's moderately correlated. Correlation ranges in between 1 and -1. Positive numbers mean the line's going up, and negative means it's going down. When it's 1, it's basically on the line, and when it's -1, it's like not. When it's -1, it's on the line, straight going down, and 0 means it's not correlated at all. So knowing this, our calculations show that for African Americans, the correlation is around -0.4. So there is a moderate correlation. So that means there may be a connection between how much money you make and whether or not you're African American. This makes sense as we learn through history, as African Americans were discriminated lots against history, so it would make sense if there were still some marks of that in our modern time.
Thank you, and that concludes our section for today. Tomorrow we will discuss Is Fortnite Dying and Will PewDiePie lose to T-Series?